Let me paint a picture for you. It's 6:47 in the morning. Your alarm starts ringing, and for one brief moment, just a tiny fraction of a second, you're faced with a decision. You can press snooze. You can hide under the blanket. You can spend the next 45 minutes scrolling through Instagram, watching everyone else live their lives. Or you can choose differently. And here's what most people never realize. That tiny moment between the alarm ringing and your reaction isn't just about getting out of bed. It's something much deeper. It's a vote for the person you're becoming, a vote for your future identity. Every single day, through small decisions, you are either building yourself stronger or slowly tearing yourself apart without even noticing it. Now I want you to be honest with yourself for a second, because nobody else is listening. When was the last time you truly felt in control of your life? Not just surviving another week, not just repeating the same routine every day. I mean genuinely in control, like your life had direction because you chose it, not because circumstances pushed you there. For most people, that feeling is rare. They think they'll finally feel calm and confident once they get the promotion, once they find the right relationship, once they lose the weight, once they finally make enough money. But what if that feeling of peace, stability, and quiet confidence isn't waiting at the finish line? What if it's something you build daily? For more than 2,000 years, Stoic philosophy has taught exactly that. These weren't just ideas written in books. Soldiers used them in war. Emperors used them while leading nations. Even slaves used them to hold on to their dignity when they had nothing else left. And even today, the people who move through life with calmness, discipline, and emotional control are often practicing these same principles, sometimes without even realizing it. This isn't empty motivation. This is practical wisdom. I'm going to walk you through 11 habits the Stoics actually lived by. Each one connects to the next. And by the end, you'll start looking at your life in a completely different way. Not because I told you to, because you'll finally see it for yourself. So let's begin. Habit 1. Build your inner fortress before the world wakes up. There's a man named David Goggins. You may already know who he is. Former Navy SEAL, ultramarathon runner, someone many people consider mentally unstoppable. But his life didn't begin that way. He grew up in poverty. He experienced abuse as a child. He failed military entrance exams multiple times. Doctors even told him he had a heart condition that could permanently stop him from serving. Most people would have accepted defeat. He didn't. And one of the most important habits he built had nothing to do with physical training. Every morning, before the world became noisy, he would sit alone in silence and have what he called a conversation with himself. Before distractions, before responsibilities, before the opinions of the world entered his mind, he would honestly face where he was in life while mentally preparing himself for where he wanted to go. Without realizing it, he was practicing something the Stoics called building your inner citadel, an internal fortress no outside chaos can easily shake. Marcus Aurelius practiced the same thing. Even as the ruler of an empire, he would wake up early before anyone else and spend time writing privately in his journal. Not reports, not messages, not politics, just honest reflection. Those private writings later became meditations, one of the most respected philosophical books in history. And almost every entry started the same way: self-examination. Not self-hatred, not self-pity, self-awareness. There's a difference. And here's the good news. You don't need a palace or military discipline to practice this. You only need 11 minutes. That's it. Before you touch your phone, before checking notifications, before the world starts demanding your attention, take 11 minutes for yourself. First, sit in silence for 3 minutes. No music, no podcasts, no scrolling, just silence. Your brain is still in a calm and highly receptive state right after waking up. Filling it immediately with noise and distractions is like planting weeds before your own thoughts even have a chance to grow. Second, spend 4 minutes writing. Ask yourself one simple question. What is the one thing I can do today that would make everything else easier or less important? Write the answer down. Not typing, actually writing. This isn't about making a huge to-do list. It's about clarity. Third, spend 4 minutes reading something meaningful, not social media, not random headlines. Read something that challenges your thinking. A page from Meditations, something written by Ryan Holiday, a passage from Viktor Frankl. Feed your mind with something valuable before the world fills it with noise. That's your inner fortress. And when you do this consistently, something powerful happens. The stress, the office drama, the social media negativity, the anxiety that usually controls your day. It stops affecting you the same way, because you've already grounded yourself before chaos had the chance to enter. Epictetus once said, "People are disturbed not by things, but by the way they view them." In other words, the event itself usually isn't what destroys you. Your interpretation of it does. And when you build your inner fortress every morning, you begin choosing your mindset before the world chooses it for you. You stop reacting to life like a victim. You start observing it with control. And in a world designed to constantly steal your attention, protecting the first few minutes of your morning may be one of the most powerful things you ever do. Start tomorrow. Not next week. Not Monday. Tomorrow. Habit 2. Dress for the person you want to become. Become the person you're growing into, not the person you used to be. Back in 2012, researchers at Northwestern University conducted an interesting experiment. They gave 2 groups the exact same white lab coat. One group was told the coat belonged to doctors. The other group was told it belonged to painters. Then both groups were asked to complete tasks that required concentration and precision. The result? The doctor group performed far better. Same coat, different belief, different outcome. Researchers called this phenomenon enclothed cognition. The idea that what you wear affects not only how others see you, but how you see yourself. And how you see yourself changes how you behave. This isn't vanity. It's psychology. The Stoics had an interesting perspective on appearance. Epictetus believed things like wealth, beauty, and social status should never define your happiness because they're outside your control. And he was right. But Marcus Aurelius viewed self-presentation a little differently. He believed the way you carried yourself, your posture, your energy, your presence, reflected the respect you had for your own character. It wasn't about impressing people. It was about living your values visibly. Think about it like this. If discipline matters to you, does your appearance reflect discipline? If strength matters to you, do you carry yourself with strength? If purpose matters to you, does the way you show up communicate seriousness and intention? This has nothing to do with expensive clothes or fashion trends. It's about intentionality. James Clear explains a similar idea in Atomic Habits. Instead of focusing only on the results you want, focus on becoming the kind of person who naturally produces those results. Then ask yourself, what would that version of me do? Someone who respects themselves dresses with purpose, even when no one else is around, even working from home, even on ordinary days. Because dressing intentionally isn't for other people. It's for you. It's a signal to your own mind that says, I take myself seriously. Start simple. Wear clean clothes. Stand tall. Maintain eye contact. Walk calmly instead of rushing everywhere. These aren't superficial details. They're outward expressions of your inner state. When your outer behavior starts matching the person you want to become, something powerful happens. The gap between your current identity and your future identity begins to shrink. And that gap is often where anxiety lives. So close the gap. Start with the way you show up. Habit 3. Train your face to guide your mind. In 1988, psychologist Fritz Strack conducted one of the most famous experiments in psychology. Participants were asked to hold a pen in their mouths in 2 different ways. One group held it with their lips, which prevented smiling. The other group held it with their teeth, which forced the muscles used in smiling to activate. Then both groups were shown cartoons and asked to rate how funny they were. The group forced into a smile-like expression consistently found the cartoons funnier. Why? Because emotions don't only move from the brain to the body. They also move from the body back to the brain. Your facial expression affects your emotional state, which means you don't always need to feel better before acting better. Sometimes the action comes first, and the feeling follows. A powerful example of this mindset was James Stockdale. In 1965, during the Vietnam War, his plane was shot down. He spent more than 7 years as a prisoner of war, much of that time in isolation, while enduring brutal torture. Yet he survived mentally. Later, he explained something fascinating. He said the prisoners who broke first weren't always the weakest. Surprisingly, many were the optimists, the ones who kept saying, "We'll be out by Christmas." Then Christmas came, and nothing changed. Their hope collapsed. Stockdale survived because he practiced a deeply Stoic principle. He accepted the brutal reality of his situation without allowing it to destroy his inner state. He focused only on what he could control. His composure became his armor. Not fake positivity, not denial, composure. And this matters in your life too. The next time stress hits, maybe someone sends you a passive-aggressive message, traffic ruins your morning, or unexpected bad news appears, pause before reacting. Take one slow breath, relax your jaw slightly, and consciously choose your expression. Not a fake smile, not pretending everything is perfect, just calm composure, because your face constantly sends signals back to your brain. And when you practice this consistently, difficult moments begin losing some of their emotional intensity. Not because you're suppressing emotions, but because you've interrupted the cycle that normally amplifies them. Composure is not weakness. It's strength under control. It's the decision to remain the person you want to be even when life is trying to pull you out of character. Habit 4. Learn the power of the closed gate. When Marcus Aurelius became emperor, he made a choice that confused many people around him. He remained respectful and supportive toward his adoptive brother and co-emperor, Lucius Verus, but he intentionally kept some distance from Lucius's private lifestyle and social circles, which were known for excess and indulgence. Marcus wasn't rude. He wasn't judgmental. He treated Lucius with kindness and respect, but he understood something most people learn far too late. You can care about someone deeply while still protecting yourself from the habits, energy, and patterns they carry. That's what I call the closed gate. Respectful, intentional, firm. Here's something uncomfortable but important. Think about the 5 people you spend the most time with. Not the people you admire online. Not the people you wish you were around. The actual people who regularly influence your environment. Now ask yourself honestly, after spending time with them, do you feel energized or drained? Focused or distracted? Closer to your goals or further away from them? This isn't about judging anyone. It's about awareness. Your energy is limited. Your attention is limited. Your life is limited. And the people around you quietly shape your standards, emotions, and habits over time. Epictetus warned about this centuries ago. He believed the company you keep directly influences the person you become, because human beings naturally absorb the emotional patterns of the people around them. Over time, your mindset begins to match your environment. That's why protecting your inner peace sometimes means creating healthy boundaries. The closed gate doesn't mean shutting everyone out. It simply means being careful about who gets full access to your energy, your attention, and your future. Think about the people you spend the most time around. Not the people you wish you were around, but the ones who are consistently part of your everyday life. Now ask yourself honestly, after spending time with them, do you usually feel more energized or more drained? Do you feel mentally clearer or more confused? Do you feel more connected to who you truly are, or slightly disconnected from yourself? This isn't about judging anyone. It's about being honest with yourself. Your energy is limited. Your attention is limited. Your time is limited. And every hour spent around people who constantly pull you away from your best self, even if they care about you, even if they mean well, is an hour not invested in becoming the person you're capable of becoming. The Stoics believe deeply in surrounding yourself with people who elevate your character. Epictetus spoke clearly about this. The people around you shape your mindset, your habits, and eventually your character. Not always because they're bad influences, but because human beings naturally adapt to the emotional environment around them. We absorb attitudes. We mirror behaviors. We slowly match the standards of the people closest to us. Over time, you become a reflection of the environment you consistently live in. Not just emotionally, neurologically. Your brain literally adjusts itself to the emotional rhythms, habits, and patterns of the people you spend the most time with. That's why protecting your environment matters so much. And this is where the idea of the closed gate comes in. The closed gate is not cruelty. It's not ignoring people. It's not cutting everyone off. It's simply learning to manage your energy with quiet confidence and healthy boundaries. In real life, it looks like this. You answer messages on your own schedule instead of feeling pressured to respond instantly. You say no to invitations that don't align with your priorities, without over-explaining or apologizing endlessly. You spend less time in environments that pull you backward and more time in environments that help you grow forward. You stay respectful, kind, warm even, but you protect your time and energy like valuable resources, because they are. One of the best things you can do for your relationships is becoming intentional about which ones you invest deeply in. When you spread yourself too thin, you end up emotionally unavailable to everyone. But when you choose carefully and invest intentionally, you become truly present for the people who matter most. Open the gate for the people who genuinely deserve your energy. Keep it politely closed for everyone else, without guilt, without drama. Habit 5. Become the eye of the storm. In 2009, U.S. Airways Flight 1549 emergency landing took off from New York's LaGuardia Airport. Just minutes after takeoff, the plane struck a flock of geese. Both engines failed almost instantly. Captain Chesley Sullenberger had less than 4 minutes to save 155 people. If you listen to the cockpit recordings, something stands out immediately. His voice was calm, measured, focused, controlled. No panic, no yelling, no emotional collapse. He calmly worked through the problem step by step and successfully landed the plane on the Hudson River. Everyone survived. Later, when people asked how he stayed so calm under that level of pressure, he explained something important. His calmness wasn't created in those few minutes. It was built over decades, years of training, years of preparation, years of practicing composure under pressure. The emergency simply revealed who he had trained himself to become. The Stoics understood this deeply. They separated two things most people confuse: the event itself and your experience of the event. The crisis, setback, or problem exists outside you, but your interpretation of it, your emotional reaction, your mindset, the meaning you attach to it, happens inside you. And that part can be controlled. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." That isn't just philosophy. It's a practical way to survive difficult moments. The Stoics used a mental technique called the view from above. When stress hits, your mind zooms in too close. The problem starts feeling bigger than life itself. So the Stoics would mentally zoom out. First the room, then the city, then the country, then the planet, until the problem returned to its real size. Because perspective changes emotional intensity. Here are 3 simple tools to help you become calmer under pressure. Tool 1. Reset your body first. When stress takes over, the rational part of your brain starts shutting down. That's why panicked people make terrible decisions. The fastest way to interrupt stress is controlled breathing. Not random deep breaths. Controlled breathing. Breathe in for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. Exhale slowly for 6 seconds. The long exhale tells your nervous system that you are safe. Repeat it 3 times. Within about 90 seconds, your thinking becomes noticeably clearer. Tool 2. Name the emotion clearly. Psychologist Daniel Siegel popularized the phrase, "Name it to tame it." Instead of saying, "I feel terrible," be specific. "I feel anxious because I'm afraid this situation will expose my weakness." The more accurately you identify the emotion, the more control your brain regains over it. Clarity weakens emotional chaos. Tool 3. Separate what you can control. Take the stressful situation and mentally divide it into 2 categories. What can I control? What can I control? Then focus only on the first category. Not partially, completely. The second category gets none of your energy. That's not weakness. That's strategic focus. The storm may rage around you. Your job is not to stop every storm. Your job is to become the calm center inside it. Habit 6. Build your own North Star. There's something in psychology called the default mode network. When your brain isn't focused on a task, it doesn't become silent. It starts wandering, usually toward worry, comparison, regret, anxiety about the future. This isn't because something is wrong with you. It's because the human brain evolved to look for problems in order to survive. But if you don't consciously give your mind direction, it will drift aimlessly. And years of drifting eventually create a life that feels accidental instead of intentional. Viktor Frankl understood this better than almost anyone. During World War II, he spent years inside Nazi concentration camps. He lost his wife, parents, brother, and nearly everything he loved. Yet even there, he noticed something extraordinary. The people who survived psychologically weren't always the strongest physically. They were the people who still had a reason to keep going. A loved one they hoped to see again. A purpose they still believed in. A dream they hadn't abandoned. Frankl called this the will to meaning. He believed a person can survive almost any hardship if they have a strong enough reason behind it. The Stoics believed something similar. They called it living according to your purpose, your guiding principle, your personal direction. Seneca warned people about spending their entire lives chasing goals that society told them to chase instead of discovering what truly mattered to them personally. And honestly, most people never stop long enough to ask themselves, what do I actually want from my life? Not what social media says. Not what family expects. Not what impresses strangers. What genuinely matters to you. Here's a powerful exercise. take a blank piece of paper and write. If I look back on my life 10 years from now and feel truly proud of how I lived, what would need to be true? Not money, not status. Who would you have become? What values would you have lived by? What impact would you have made? Then ask yourself, what am I doing today that moves me closer to that life? And what am I doing that moves me further away from it? The gap between those answers is where your real work begins, because you cannot move toward a meaningful future if you have no clear direction. Your North Star isn't something you magically discover one day. It's something you build deliberately, one decision at a time. Habit 7. Plant your flag and hold the line. In 1951, psychologist Solomon Asch conducted a famous experiment about conformity. He placed one real participant in a room filled with actors pretending to be participants. Everyone was shown a simple set of lines and asked which line matched a reference line in length. The answer was obvious, but one by one, the actors intentionally gave the wrong answer out loud, confidently and repeatedly. And something disturbing happened. Many ordinary people, even though they clearly knew the correct answer, changed their response just to match the group. Not because they believed the group was right, but because standing alone felt uncomfortable. About 75% of participants conformed at least once. Later, when researchers asked why they changed their answers, many admitted they started doubting themselves even though the truth had been obvious from the beginning. This isn't a story about weak people. It's a story about human nature. The pressure to fit in is one of the strongest forces in psychology. And if you're not consciously aware of it, it quietly shapes your decisions every single day. But making your stand doesn't mean arguing with everyone. It doesn't mean becoming difficult or rebellious for attention. The Stoics understood this clearly. Zeno of Citium, the founder of Stoicism, was known for listening carefully before speaking. He didn't form opinions impulsively. He observed. He reflected. He thought deeply. And once he understood what he believed to be true, he stood by it with calm stability. The Stoics made an important distinction. Opinions can change. Values should not. Opinions evolve when new evidence appears. But values are the foundation of your character. And when you abandon your values just to gain approval or avoid discomfort, you lose something much deeper than an argument. You lose your sense of self. And a person without a clear sense of self becomes extremely vulnerable. Vulnerable to manipulation, anxiety, insecurity, and emotional instability. So here's a powerful exercise. Take a piece of paper and write down 5 things that are completely non-negotiable in the way you live your life. Not goals, not wishes, not things that sound impressive. Real values you refuse to compromise no matter who's watching. Maybe it's honesty. Maybe it's loyalty. Maybe it's refusing to participate in cruelty. Maybe it's your commitment to growth and discipline. Whatever they are, write them down. Because writing them creates a quiet contract with yourself. And one day, life will test those values. Pressure will come. Temptation will come. Fear will come. When that moment arrives, you'll have something solid to return to. A reminder that says, this is who I am. This is what I stand for. Epictetus once said, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. That order matters. Identity first. Action second. When you know who you are, decisions become much easier. Because you've already chosen your direction before the pressure arrives. Plant your flag. And when life tests you, hold the line. Habit 8. Sharpen your sense of humor. A lot of people misunderstand Stoicism. They imagine Stoics as emotionless, overly serious people who walk around suppressing every feeling. But then you actually read Seneca, and you realize something quickly. He was funny, sharp, observant, sometimes even sarcastic. He often mocked the absurd behavior of wealthy Romans, including himself at times. He could point out hypocrisy with precision and humor at the same time. Even Marcus Aurelius, in his private writings, occasionally revealed a dry and subtle wit that many people overlook. Real humor isn't the opposite of Stoicism. It's part of it, because true humor requires clear observation. It comes from noticing the gap between reality and pretense, between what people say and what they actually do. And that ability to see clearly is deeply Stoic. Modern psychology also supports this. Research on resilience consistently shows that humor is one of the strongest traits linked to recovering from hardship. Not fake joking, not avoiding pain, but the ability to see irony and absurdity even during difficult moments. There's a concept in therapy called cognitive diffusion. It means creating a little space between yourself and your thoughts so you can observe them instead of drowning in them. Humor naturally creates that space. When you can laugh at a difficult situation, genuinely, not dismissively, you step outside the emotional storm long enough to think clearly again. Nick Vujicic is a powerful example of this. Born without arms or legs, he built a global career inspiring millions. But one thing people immediately notice about him is his humor. He laughs easily, often at himself, and he once explained that learning to genuinely laugh at his situation was incredibly freeing. It changed him from someone consumed by the problem into someone capable of dealing with it. That's powerful. Real wit isn't about trying to sound clever. It comes from observing life honestly. Here's how you build it. First, broadly read comedy writers, essayists, satirists, and thoughtful observers of human behavior. Not to copy jokes, but because they train your mind to notice contradictions, irony, and absurdity in everyday life. That awareness is the root of real humor. Second, stop taking your ego so seriously. One of the fastest ways to develop confidence is learning to laugh at your own imperfections. Not in a self-hating way, but in a relaxed, secure way. The people most comfortable with themselves rarely need to pretend they're perfect, and that comfort creates genuine confidence. Third, learn the power of the pause. Humor depends on timing, and timing comes from observation. The funniest people in a room are rarely the loudest. They're usually the ones paying closest attention. So slow down. Observe more. Stop rushing to fill every silence. Wit is sharper than most people realize. Habit 9. Give people respect, but don't lose yourself. Here's something people rarely say clearly enough. Respect does not mean agreement. Respect does not mean unlimited access to your time. Respect does not mean tolerating bad behavior. The Stoics believed in something called cosmopolitanism, the idea that all human beings share a common humanity and therefore deserve basic dignity. Not because they earned it, because they're human. But modern culture often confuses respect with constant validation, as if treating someone well means always agreeing with them, pleasing them, or avoiding difficult truths. The Stoics rejected that idea. Cato the Younger was famous for his integrity. Even Julius Caesar, his political enemy, admitted that Cato was one of the few men who could not be bribed, manipulated, or flattered. Cato respected people deeply, but he wasn't afraid to disagree openly. He didn't soften truth just to make people comfortable, and that balance is powerful. Real respect begins with listening, not waiting to speak, not preparing your response while the other person talks. Actually listening. Listening means accepting the possibility that another person may have something worth understanding, even if you ultimately disagree, and that requires humility, because the ego always wants to appear knowledgeable. It wants to interrupt. It wants to prove itself. But true listening is a form of respect, and it costs nothing except your ego's need for attention. Beyond that, respect also means simple things. Return what you borrow. Keep your word. Acknowledge effort. Say thank you sincerely. These aren't small things. They are reflections of character. But remember this too. Respecting others does not mean abandoning self-respect. The Stoics believed self-respect is the foundation of healthy relationships. Without it, people either become pushovers or controlling tyrants. Sometimes both. A person who truly respects themselves can be generous without desperation because they're not constantly seeking approval. Their kindness comes from stability, not insecurity. Habit 10. Remember that you will die. The Stoics had a phrase, memento mori. Remember that you will die. In ancient Rome, when a victorious general returned home after war, huge celebrations were held in his honor. Crowds cheered. People praised him. Flowers filled the streets. But standing behind him during the celebration was a servant whose only job was to whisper, "Remember, you are mortal." Not as an insult, as wisdom, a reminder that success, power, praise, and even life itself are temporary. The Stoics reflected on death regularly, not in a fearful way, but in a clarifying way, because thinking honestly about mortality changes your priorities instantly. When you truly remember life is limited, many things suddenly lose importance. The resentment you've carried for weeks, the goals you keep postponing, the conversations you avoid, the dreams you delay until later. Death forces clarity. Steve Jobs once said that asking himself, "If today were the last day of my life, would I still want to do what I'm about to do?" became one of the most important tools in his decision-making. That's not pessimism. That's focus. You don't need to obsess over death. But spending a few minutes honestly reflecting on your mortality can completely reshape your priorities. Ask yourself, if I had only 6 months left, what would I stop wasting time on? Who would I call? What would I forgive? What would finally matter? The answers reveal what is truly important to you. And those are the things your life should revolve around. Memento mori isn't meant to darken your life. It's meant to sharpen it. Habit 11. Practice the evening reflection. If the morning routine builds your foundation, the evening reflection helps you improve the structure. Seneca wrote that every night he reviewed his entire day honestly, not to shame himself, but to understand himself. The ancient philosophers often asked themselves 3 questions before sleep. What did I do wrong today? What did I do right today? What could I improve tomorrow? Simple questions, but powerful ones. Modern psychology supports this idea too. Regular self-reflection helps people notice patterns in their behavior. And most people never notice their patterns. They repeat the same mistakes for years while wondering why life never changes. Reflection interrupts that cycle. It allows growth to become intentional instead of accidental. And it doesn't require hours of journaling. Just honesty. Take 10 minutes before bed tonight and ask yourself, where did I act like the person I want to become? Where did I fall short? And what specific thing will I improve tomorrow? That last question matters most, because reflection without action becomes rumination. The Stoics weren't obsessed with guilt. They were obsessed with improvement. End each day with honesty. Begin each morning with intention. Do that consistently, and your life will slowly begin to change in ways you never expected. And remember, these aren't just ideas. They are practices. The Stoics were never trying to become perfect human beings. Even Marcus Aurelius constantly wrote about his own impatience, failures, and struggles. What mattered was that he kept trying. Every single day, Marcus Aurelius fell short in some way. And every single day, he chose to begin again. That's the real practice. Not perfection, not achievement. The practice itself. You're not in competition with anyone else. And you're not trying to become someone completely different. You're trying to uncover the strongest, clearest version of who you already are, beneath the noise, beneath the conditioning, beneath the fear of being judged by other people. These 11 habits are not rules carved in stone. They're a compass. A compass isn't meant to make you perfect. It's meant to help you find your direction when you lose your way. And you will lose your way sometimes. Everyone does. That isn't failure. That's being human. The real question is not whether you stumble. The real question is, how quickly are you willing to come back to yourself? If you stayed through this entire video, that genuinely means something. Not because you deserve applause for watching content online, but because today you made a conscious decision to spend several hours investing in your own growth instead of distracting yourself with things that leave you exactly where you started. That choice matters more than you think. Small decisions repeated consistently become a life. So now ask yourself, what happens next? Which of these 11 habits spoke to you the most? Which one are you actually going to begin practicing tonight? Tell me in the comments. I read them all, and I genuinely want to know what connected with you. And if this video helped you in some way, share it with one person who might truly need it. Not for views, not for numbers, but because you believe it could genuinely help someone you care about. That's the only reason that matters. Until next time, stay grounded, stay disciplined, stay aware. And remember this, every single day, whether you notice it or not, you are building something with your thoughts, your habits, and your choices. Make sure you're building a life you'll be proud to stand inside one day. Take care of yourself.